This week, on Deadful Sunday, we'll be taking a look at John Rawls' liberal ideal theory, specifically his famous concept, the veil of ignorance. The veil of ignorance is a thought experiment which places participants in a situation of no knowledge about their potential social position when theorizing about any ideal society. Rawls argues that nobody would be willing to take the risk of entering into a society which contains stark examples of poverty, suffering, and injustice, etc., and so would argue that these issues would require resolution before they were willing to enter into any such society. To take a critical lens of this concept, we will be referring to the story, reported yesterday in The Guardian, that UK asylum seekers told claims at risk if they misbehave, end quote. We argue that the veil of ignorance, imposing the ideal of equality, is framing the path to social change incorrectly. Instead, it is equity that is required to bring about a Rawlsian just society. In discussing equity, we will refer to Charles Mills's critique of Rawls and the former's focus on rectificatory justice. The Guardian reported that people held at temporary Home Office refugee camps are being threatened that their asylum claims will be harmed if they misbehave, according to testimony from site residents, end quote. This misbehaviour is seemingly a broad category, as one alleged he was told that if he complained about the food, his name would be added to a blacklist that contractors shared with the Home Office and would affect his claim, end quote. Such behaviour is a barbaric way to treat vulnerable people. Furthermore, refugee groups familiar with the camps described the issuing of asylum threats as systemic and called on the Home Office to stop private contractors weaponising asylum applications from persons fleeing persecution or conflict, end quote. What this treatment of asylum seekers points to is a pervasive attitude that has come to infect the way we see people in need of assistance. It is surely an attitude in need of a total overhaul. According to Rawls, the plight of these asylum seekers is precisely that which those behind his veil of ignorance would argue for the resolution of. Nobody would want to enter into a society with the risk that they would end up in a military barracks waiting for the unlikely compassion of a foreign government whilst being threatened by private sector staff members who are meant to be ensuring your safety at such a difficult time. For, under Rawls's ideal theory, no such horrid circumstances would even exist. Furthermore, Rawls would not permit any circumstances in which the situation these asylum seekers find themselves in would occur, because he argues that each person possesses an inviolability founded on justice that even the welfare of society as a whole cannot override. For this reason, justice denies that the loss of freedom for some is made right by a greater good shared by others. It does not allow that the sacrifices imposed on a few are outweighed by the larger sum of advantages enjoyed by the many, end quote. According to Rawls, then, nobody would enter into a society which carried the risk of being an asylum seeker, and there is no scenario in which having to seek asylum and being treated in the manner the Guardian describes would be permitted to exist. The question then becomes, fine, we know the issues, but what do we actually do about it? This is where we turn from ideal theory to non-ideal theory, from the ideal to action. Charles Mills has written extensively on this topic, critiquing Rawls for his racial blindness. Mills remarks, the distinction between ideal and non-ideal theory is related to the distinction between distributive and rectificatory justice, a distinction that goes all the way back to Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. Distributive justice deals with norms and principles for the distribution of goods. Rectificatory justice with norms and principles for the correction of wrongful distributions. So rectificatory justice is supposed to correct past wrongdoing. End quote. Considering Mills's call for rectificatory justice then, how might one approach the plight of these asylum seekers? Surely, in any scenario where social issues are being rectified and a whole new world is being constructed, those who suffered the most at the hands of systemic wrongs are those who will require the most support. Surely, these asylum seekers will require more than your average wealthy, middle-class, white European, whose relative suffering is seriously minimal in comparison. Furthermore, if, as Rawls maintains, we would automatically know what to fix when we're behind the veil, why are we still talking about it? Why, if the remedied situation is so inherent, are we still deliberating? The answer is, I argue, that ideal theory does not work in isolation, and the focus must be given more heavily to non-ideal theory. We must simultaneously think about where we want to be, that is, the ideal, and fight to get there, that is, the non-ideal. Additionally, we would fare far better to, when theorising about the ideal, take into account rectificatory justice, so that we compensate our comrades who suffered under what came before, so that they come, via equity, to stand in front of the new society on equal ground. Clearly, there can be no changed future without actively taking into account the present and the past. This marks the end of the 16th episode of Deadfall Sundays. We hope you enjoyed it, and that we'll see you again next week.